Hey, how's everyone doing out there today? It's Slampig Magoo. Welcome back to the channel. To the group of people that come check out these videos every week, as always, thank you guys so much. You're like family to me. If you're new to the channel, maybe after you watch the video, if you like what you see, maybe you can think about hitting that like button. Maybe even the subscribe button. It really helps the channel out a lot. Thank you so much for the consideration. But, yeah, my friends, on today's video, I was going to start off right out the gate by throwing out a quote. It makes me seem smart, makes me seem like I'm tied into what's going on in the world. The quote I was eyeballing was, those who do not learn history are doomed to repeat it. And I did about 30 seconds worth of research just so I can throw out the name of the person who said it. And it turns out that is not even the quote. The quote that most likely came from philosopher George Santayana is those who cannot remember the past are condemned to repeat it. That was written in the earlier days of the 20th century. I think it was like 1905 or something that guy wrote that. But, it kind of applies today. And it's sort of fitting that I didn't have an actual, understanding of the real quote until I looked it up. That's even fitting too. Because at least through my eyes, through the eyes that I interpret the world around me through, I see a lot of that, not learning history, doomed to repeat it, especially here in the current year, in the modern age. We got a lot of stuff being thrown at us. It's psyop after psyop. It's the same shit. We're told one thing just to have the rug pulled out from under us and are handed something different, And it's crazy because people don't seem to be learning it. They seem to be falling for the same tricks over and over again, And it's to the point where the population, I think, is just expected to accept all these new institutions, these freedom-destroying conventions that are being interjected into our lives unwillingly. It's just a total crap of bullshit, my friends. Total bullshit, and you lose faith in humanity when you see people falling for the same stuff time after time. And if you live long enough in this world, you start to notice the coincidences. You know what I mean? The rollout of this new current thing is the same, as the last current thing. The promises are the same. It's going to be great for your community. It's going to be great for society, for the nation, for our culture as a whole. Just to have at the end of the day, a steaming pile of turd dumped on everything that you hold sacred and dear to yourself. It's just, it's not right. And, one of these similarities that I'm seeing, and it's really just starting to formulate in my mind the last couple days, is, I can't even talk right now, some similarities between oh God, I don't even know what they're calling it in the media these days, the migrant crisis, the border crisis, the Biden invasion. I mean, whatever you want to call it, I see a lot of similarities between, the migrant crisis, the invasion, and the rollout of the pandemic. The C number virus thing that may or may not have been friggin' thrown at us a few years back. There's a lot of similarities that I'm seeing in that. And a couple differences, too, you know what I mean? So I figure I'd take a couple minutes today, shoot the shit and talk about that, the similarities between the migrant invasion and the viral invasion from a few years back. So, let me take a quick second, try to put these thoughts into words, and we'll get in a little bit deeper discussion. So sit back, my friends. We're about to get philosophical on this shit. You just wait a minute. This is going to be a good time. All right, like so many of us, my memories of the COVID time revolve around, the middle of it, when we were already like deep in the shit, But, for the sake of this little video we're all watching right here, right now, I'm going to ask you to take a quick trip down into your mental archives, where you keep the memories of, the times before COVID, more in particular around like late 2019, early 2020, right when the right when the pandemic was starting to roll out in earnest. Now, right when it kicked off, it wasn't the fear fest that it was, right in the middle of it. You heard little whispers of the COVID thing in the news and everything a couple months before it hit stateside. You heard that it broke in Asia, and it was more or less contained for a good little minute. And then the headline started, oh, it escaped Asia and everything. It's spreading throughout Europe. It's spreading through Africa, Asia, all over the place. And, that's when the newscasts turn more or less into fear casts. They were, oh, sorry about that. They're ramping up the bullshit. It was just constant fear mongering and everything. You were told all this shit that it was a horrible disease, that it stopped you from breathing. All these people were on ventilators. We were running out of ventilators. All that sort of shit. And it hit first on the west coast of America. I think like Washington State or Northern California, everything. And that's when it got real for a lot of Americans. Like, oh shit, it's no longer a them problem, it's an us problem. And the news kept up with the fear mongering. You know what I mean? They'd start off every episode of the evening news with a death count, how many new cases here and there, how many new cases local. And it was, I mean, they were trying times. We were all living in anxiety. But sooner or later, it traveled eastwards, and all of a sudden, Corona was in our backyards. You know what I mean? And I remember myself seeing on the local newspaper here where I live, where the city had our first actual case. We got a real Corona case here, and that was the worst of it. When we were on the cusp of being introduced to this new horror. And as the weeks and months unfolded, we realized that the horror wasn't exactly what it was being sold. You know what I mean? It turned out to just be a bunch of bullshit. The hospitals weren't being overrun. There was that infamous TikTok video of a guy running around a completely empty emergency room asking, "Hey, where are all the the cases and everything?" It Leading up to it, all of this extra space in my city, at least, was used for like morgues and shelters, and we were expecting this huge body count. We were going to be stacking the bodies because we were going to run out of room. That turned out to be bullshit. We could drive by the places and see that they were totally empty. We understood that at that point, the narrative that we were sold revolving around the whole COVID pandemic was bullshit. And then, moving forward from that, we saw the money grab. You know what I mean? Your mom and pop stores had to shut down, but your mega Walmart, Sam Clubs, the globalist corporations could stay open. Vaccine mandates pushed through OSHA, pushed through other, non-official government entities. You know what I mean? There was a lot of money being thrown around the COVID times. Our treacherous government really capitalized on the pandemic. They made a lot of money off the whole thing. In particular, they're huge campaign contributors. They're the big pharmaceutical industries, the medical industries. And it turned out to be bullshit. And they pushed it on us. They pushed it and they pushed it and they pushed us it on the population. To the point where people were screaming, fighting back, and they were just getting like censored, shut down, and everything like that. The pandemic will continue until all the profitability has been like fucking milked out of it. And that's that was COVID in a nutshell. You know what I mean? That's what they gave to us. They turned a seemingly innocent non-issue into this whole economy destroying, globalist enriching. Bunch of bullshit, and there was absolutely no recourse. Nothing happened at all, and that that was COVID. You know what I mean? And now, a few years past that, we find ourselves on the cusp of a new social issue. You know what I mean? The migrant invasion, if you would, or the whatever the hell they're calling it in the news. Much like COVID, before it hit our neighborhoods, we were sold a lie, you know. Same thing with the migrant invasion. We're being told that it's women and children fleeing violence in their home country and everything like that. Like that's the narrative that the propagandist media is really pushing at us, you know. But I mean, I'll be the first to admit that I'm not, you know, the person with the best grasp of world politics and world affairs, but to the best of my knowledge, there is no war against women being fought in any fucking country anywhere in the world. You know, it's just not happening, you know. But, you know, the news says there is a humanitarian crisis of violence against women, of violence against families. That's why these people are coming. You know, they're streaming northwards from our southern border. You know, and that's, you know, that was the, in my opinion, that's akin to the lie that we were told about COVID, that it was this like huge issue, you know, and it just turned out to be absolute bullshit, you know, and much like, you know, when COVID was sweeping across the country, at as the migrant crisis sweeps across the country, we're starting to hear these little stories in the headlines. You know what I mean? Migrant shoots at cop in the middle of New York City. You know, migrant open fires. Migrant, you know, kills, robs, rapes, murders. You know, and it's, you know, it's just in little pockets. But the mainstream narrative is still following the, you know, the women and children fleeing violence narrative, even as all of this shit is happening, you know. You know, and sooner or later, this migrant crisis, just like the corona crisis, is going to land in every city in America, in every town. You know what I mean? Your average everyday person is going to be able to see that it's not what the media made it sound out to be. It's not women and children. These are their men. You know what I mean? Almost exclusively men. 70 to 80% men are filling the migrant shelters in certain localities. You know, you can you can actually see like the woman to male percentage when you look at the number of vouchers that have been filled, like for housing and everything. The men get like 30-day vouchers, and the women get, I think, like 60-day or 90-day vouchers, and you can see the distribution between those two different time frames, like how many 30-day vouchers compared to how many longer vouchers have been made, and they're all the 30-day vouchers. They're all men, you know, and you know, sooner or later, this is going to land in your neighborhood, and you're going to notice that much like you did in COVID, that there is now a problem, you know, but it's not the problem that you were told it was. You know, it is different. As different as it is, though, the only one similarity tying everything together is that this is a totally manufactured crisis dumped on our communities that we are going to be left sweeping up with after the government has milked it for profit. You know, right now the whole migrant thing, there's a lot of money wrapped up in it, from $10,000 gift cards to, you know, multi no bid contracts to feed these people. You know, housing these people. There's a lot of money on the table, and goddamned if, you know, if they care that communities are being ripped apart, that lives are being affected when that dollar is on the table. You know, when those globalists have a profit frigging goal, our puppet government is just going to open the doors for them, whatever they want to do. You know what I mean? They are going to destroy our neighborhoods. They're going to destroy our lives in the same way they did COVID. You know, they're just going to just pump this bullshit into our neighborhood. And this time it's not a you know, relatively harmless disease. This time they're real people who are going to need to be clothed and fed, and they don't have the, you know, they don't have the resources available to them to do that themselves. You know what I mean? These people, I've seen them. There's a migrant center right down the street. These people, they are not going to thrive here in America. A lot of these people, this is their first time seeing electric lights, running toilets. You know what I mean? A lot of these people come from cultures where a bar of soap is a mysterious, you know, object. They're not really sure what to do with it. You know, they are not going to thrive here in America. They're not going to ultimately end up supporting themselves, having any sort of life of value. They are going to be dependent on the taxpayer up until the day that they take their last breath, that they spend their last food stamp. You know, this is our problem. The government has nothing to do with it after they make their money, you know. And that's how they both tie together, I guess. You know what I mean? It's bullshit after bullshit, psyop after psyop. And the next humanitarian crisis, be it viral or migrant, will roll out the same way. We'll be promised something. We'll be told a narrative that turns out to be a lie. It'll get pushed and pushed into our communities until it's screamingly, glaringly obvious that it's not what we're being told. And then it'll just, the subject will change and move on to the next psyop. There's nothing really we can do at this point. It's a runaway government, just destroying everything that our ancestors built, the empire that we once had. It's a sad shadow of its former self. If we don't do something soon, it's going to be lost forever. Our way of life, everything. We'll be vilified in the pages of history. And all we did was friggin' make a civilization that was so great that others wanted to come here. Yeah, but I could bitch and bitch for hours, I guess. But let me wrap this up. Huge thanks for you guys for sticking around this long rambling video. I know I'm a horrible storyteller in my rambling and my incoherent bullshit, and I appreciate all you guys sticking around to watch the videos. Huge thanks goes out to all of you. If you want to take a quick second, you can hit those like and subscribe buttons. They're all down here underneath the video and everything. Click them all if you want. It's a good time. It makes me feel like I'm friggin' actually doing something worthwhile while I'm out here shooting the videos. See, if you do subscribe to the channel, every Sunday night at 7 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time, we do a live stream here, live from the pig pen. It's a great little community we have growing here. Some real tight-knit friends. You're more than welcome to come and join us. It's always great to have more people, new people. It's really a good time. You should come check it out. Say hi in the chat. Contribute to our little conversations. It's a blast. Really check it out. But, that being said, I'm gonna take off and get out of here. So, take good care of each other. Be well. Stay out of trouble. Until the next time we meet, may luck always be on your side. All right. Thanks a lot, friends. I'll be in touch soon.